Hello, my name's Ron. Although I'm not much of a social media person, I've been making sourdough for 20 years, and I sort of got onto Facebook and started seeing articles and comments about sourdough, and I sort of put my foot in my mouth today and said I'll put a little bit of my information on my wife's YouTube channel. So I said it, so now I better do it. I've been making sourdough for about 22 years, and pretty much always use the same types of recipes. So anything I've learned, basically I learned on my own. And when I started reading a lot of these articles, I was kind of surprised to how other people were doing it, and I'm looking forward to trying different techniques. But I will talk a little bit about what got me up here this morning. Was an article about my sourdough not lasting on the counter, it's getting moldy. So what I said to that person and anybody else who reads it is there's two things in sourdough that make sourdough so good for you. Number one is the yeast, and the second thing is the bacteria. Now they're both in good flour, good organic flour, or not even organic, but good flour that's been cold milled as opposed to hot milled, so that the bacteria and culture will still be alive in the flour you buy. So any good quality flour will work just fine if you want to make your own starter. I'll get into the other ways you can get starter much later. Okay, so having said that, the two things that are working in your sourdough is the yeast, which you can buy commercially, of course, and it wouldn't be sourdough, just regular bread. Where the magic happens is with the bacteria. Now, this is a good bacteria. You've heard of, obviously, probacteria. This is a prebacteria. It feeds the good bacteria in your body. So a lot of times you hear, oh, bacteria is bad. Well, there are good bacteria, like there is in yogurt or other things that ferment. So I guess to make a long story short, the way to get your bread to last longer on the counter and a little bit more sour is fermenting it at a warmer temperature. And what I've been seeing now is everybody puts it in the fridge overnight, so your yeast will develop really well because it does well in cooler temperatures, whereas the bacteria will be significantly slowed down in its reproduction, and therefore not give you the acid, because the acid comes from the bacteria. So if you want a sourdough, sourer, if that's a word, then you put it on the counter and leave it there for 2 or 3 hours at room temperature, or even in the oven, but be careful not to overheat it. I mean, at anything above body temperature is probably going to kill your starter. So in that case, whatever it is that you're trying to raise. So be careful. Sometimes if you just put the light on in the oven and put it in there for 2 or 3 hours, it'll give the bacteria a chance to really spike up. It'll make your bread last longer, and you'll get that little bit more of a sourdough taste. I had a friend one time who said, you could never make sourdough sour enough for me. And I'll tell you, I have made it sour quite by accident. So I took the challenge on, and I fermented it at a very warm temperature for about 8 hours. Well, I'll tell you, you take a bite of that bread and you pucker up. Now that's the kind of bread in medieval times that they could put in their backpack and go on a 20 or 30 day trek out into the bush and have good food to eat, and that was the good things about sourdough. That's all I'm going to say about acidity for now. If I get a lot of hits, if people like the information, I'll go on more. If you can get a picture of this, I won't talk much longer because I think I've got a time restraint here. This is an amazing book. I'll try and remember to talk about it next time. Okay.